You are living inside a dream, and it's time to learn how to control it. Have you ever looked at your life and asked yourself, why does everything feel like a loop? Why am I always chasing something, yet never quite reaching it? You think you're awake. You think you're living. But in truth, you are dreaming. This is not a metaphor. This is real. You are living inside a dream, woven from thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that repeat each day, silently shaping the reality you see before your eyes. And you don't even realize you're the one creating it. Everything you see, everyone you meet, every opportunity, every challenge. They are all reflections of what's happening inside of you, like a giant mirror. The universe doesn't speak in words. The universe speaks in frequency. And you, with every thought, every emotion, are sending out a signal, a dream programmed by you. Neville Goddard once said, "Imagination is God." And if that's true, then you are the creator of your world, not with your hands, but with your mind. This is the moment you must face the truth. No one is controlling you. No circumstance is holding you prisoner. Only you, holding the remote, but not knowing how to use it. You were programmed as a child, by the words of adults, by education, by religion, by society. And every day you replay that program without ever questioning it. Bruce Lipton calls it the biology of belief, when the subconscious mind becomes the architect of your DNA, which means you don't just think out of habit, you live, breathe, and embody the very limits others placed upon you. But you are not the program. You are the one who can rewrite it. And it all begins the moment you realize the world is not happening to you. It is happening from you. The universe doesn't respond to desire. It responds to frequency. That means you could read thousands of books on the law of attraction, listen to endless spiritual teachings, but if within you there is fear, doubt, lack, that is what you're broadcasting. And the universe, like a perfect echo, sends back what matches that vibration. David R. Hawkins drew a map of consciousness from shame, guilt, and fear to love, peace, and enlightenment. Where are you broadcasting on that map? The answer isn't in what you say you believe. It's in what you feel when no one is watching. When you sit alone with yourself, that is your true frequency. That is the dream you are creating. And then one day you wake up, not because of an alarm clock, but because you heard something deeper, a calling, not spoken in words, but a rhythm, slow, steady, ancient. Like the heartbeat of the earth, like the breath of the cosmos. It says, it's time to remember who you are. Not a small human struggling to survive, but a conscious being, interwoven with the energy field of the universe, with the one unified mind, where all things are one. Dolores Cannon said, "We didn't come here to learn. We came here to remember." You're not searching for truth. You're removing the layers that made you forget it. And when you begin to remember, everything changes. You stop reacting to the world. You begin to shape it. You're no longer sleepwalking. You become the lucid dreamer. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? You ask, what frequency am I broadcasting? That is creating this. And that question, so simple, unlocks the door to your real power. Everything you want has always been there. The relationship you long for, the health you thought you lost, the success you believed was out of reach. They are not out there. They are waiting for you to match their vibration. Like tuning a radio, when you dial in the right frequency, the music appears. You don't create the music. You align with it. Life is the same. You don't need to chase the dream. You just need to learn how to broadcast the right signal. Eckhart Tolle said, "The present moment is all you ever have. If you can't be here, now, you cannot change the dream. You're just replaying an old one." Look around you. Everything happening is an answer. If you learn how to listen, everything becomes a message. The universe is never silent. You just haven't learned how to hear it. And then you step into a higher state. Not higher than others, but higher than who you used to be. You stop panicking when things fall apart, because now you know breakdowns are not endings. They are transitions, a sacred clearing, where the old dream makes space for the new. You begin to live by intuition. You act not from fear, but from passion. You feel a silent guidance, from a place deeper than any advice. And from that space, you finally arrive, fully present in your own life. You were once a dreamer. Now, you are a dreamer who is awake. You are still inside a dream. But this time, the dream doesn't control you. You are learning to rewrite the script. With every emotion, with every belief, with every conscious moment you choose to wake up. And one day you'll look back and say, this is not a miracle. This is me. Me in my purest form, as consciousness creating. The dream was never out of reach. It was only waiting for you to wake up and remember who you are. And when you remember who you are, everything becomes simpler. Not easier, but clearer. You no longer have to try to become something. You just begin to shed everything you're not. You no longer need to prove your worth, because your presence, just being you, is powerful enough to impact the world. You don't need to shout to be heard. The stillness within you has its own frequency, and when you walk in that awareness, you carry light without needing a spotlight. You shift the energy of a room just by entering it. That is the power of someone who knows they are dreaming, someone awake inside the dream. From here, every choice you make is different. You no longer act to fill a void, but because you are already full. You no longer chase love. You become the embodiment of it. You no longer cling to goals to feel worthy, because your worth doesn't come from achievements. It comes from your wholehearted presence. And you realize everything you've ever wanted to achieve out there was only a mirror reflecting what you were meant to remember within. People won't understand you, and that's okay. You're not here to be understood by the majority. You're here to remember the truth and to live it, even in silence. Because when you live in the frequency of your soul, you don't need applause. The universe will begin to realign. The right people will appear. The right doors will open. The right opportunities will flow in, not because you chase them, but because you are in sync. You don't need to fight the old dream. You only need to stop feeding it with fear and doubt. You don't need to destroy the past. You just need to choose not to live in it anymore. And when you do that each day, even just for a moment, with a single positive thought, a conscious action, a decision not rooted in fear, you are weaving a new dream, a new reality, a new version of you. This is not a one-day shift. This is the journey of awakening, not to arrive somewhere else, but to return to yourself, not to control the world, but to master the mind, not to stay lost in the dream, but to lucid dream, to be conscious, to choose, to create. So, if you're still living the same day on repeat, if you keep finding yourself pulled into the same relationships, patterns, emotions, if your life hasn't shifted despite your efforts, pause, close your eyes, and ask yourself just one question. What frequency am I broadcasting? The answer will tell you exactly where your dream is heading. No one out there holds the key. It has always been in your hands. No one can dream the dream for you, and no one can wake you up if you're not ready to open your eyes. But if you've read this far, a part of you has already awakened. Now is the time, not tomorrow, not when things are perfect, right now. Begin to live as if you know you are the creator. Begin to think, feel, and act as if the dream is listening to you every minute, because it is listening. And you are not the victim. You are the dreamer who creates the dream. Imagine if every morning you woke up not asking, what will happen to me today? But instead, what will I choose to feel today? What frequency will I send into this space? Instead of being a victim of circumstance, you become the conductor of experience. Instead of reacting, you lead. Instead of living by memory, you live by intention. And when you live like that, the world responds, not because you control it, but because you resonate with it. This is what Neville Goddard called the law of assumption. You don't wait for the miracle to believe. You believe as if the miracle has already happened, and reality must follow. Joe Dispenza proved this through quantum science. The mind, when focused and emotionally charged, can influence the subatomic particles that make up matter. You don't have to wait for the world to change in order to feel different. You change within, and the world reflects that. Greg Braden calls this the language of emotion. When your heart and your intention are in coherence, you pray through your state of being, not through words. Bruce Lipton said, "Belief doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in every cell." If you believe you're limited, your body will live out that limitation. If you believe you're healing, every molecule will begin adjusting to that signal. This is no longer mystical philosophy. This is modern spiritual science. The energy you carry is the first language the universe listens to. Not your words, not surface actions, but your frequency. You can't fake frequency. The universe doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you emit. You could say, "I'm happy" all day long, but if you're radiating fear underneath, that is what gets broadcast. You could plan the most ambitious goals, but if you doubt yourself, that doubt is the seed planted in the field of reality. Now is the time to stop living in old patterns, stories that no longer serve, memories that no longer breathe, beliefs you inherited but never chose. You don't have to heal all your past to begin. You just have to stop repeating it right now. You just have to choose differently, think differently, breathe differently, feel and act as if you remember who you truly are. A dreamer living inside the dream, now awakened in the middle of it. You might say, "But I don't see that in my life, not in my bank account, not in my relationships, not in my health." I get it. But what you're seeing is yesterday's reflection. Just like starlight that takes millions of years to reach your eyes, the reality you're experiencing today is the lingering light of an old frequency. If you react to it, you keep the cycle going. But if you stand still in front of the mirror and begin radiating something new, the entire system begins to shift. Slowly, then suddenly. The masters have lived this truth. Dolores Cannon recorded thousands of souls remembering their purpose. Eckhart Tolle stepped out of the abyss of depression with one simple question: if I can't live with myself, then how many selves are there? Ram Dass reminded us, be here now, because only in the now, you hold the power to transform. David R. Hawkins mapped consciousness from shame to enlightenment. Where you choose to be is what you vibrate, and that vibration becomes the doorway to the future you will live. You don't need to know everything, you just need to choose awareness, right now. Not awareness to become someone else, but awareness to return to who you already are, because you are not lost. You are simply asleep, but not forever. You are living inside the dream, and now is time to learn how to steer it. Look straight into this truth. You are not a product of circumstance. You are a product of choice, and the most powerful choice you have is how you see yourself. You can keep living as a reflection of your past, or begin living as a reflection of the future you choose to create. Because awakening is not a destination. It is a courageous act in every single moment. The courage to choose again, to choose a new belief, even if your heart still trembles, to choose a new vision, even if your eyes see only darkness, to choose a new self, even if you're still being pulled back by the old version. But remember this, reality does not change first, then you believe. You believe first, and reality must change. Like an artist standing before a blank canvas, no one sees anything, but they do. No one believes, but they do. And that belief is the brush that paints the world. You don't need to shout for the universe to hear you. You only need silence and consistency. Silence within your soul, consistency in your frequency. Every step, every breath, every small choice is a signal. I remember who I am. You were not born to live an ordinary life. You came here to transform, not only yourself, but the whole system around you. And you begin that, not through perfection, but through awareness. Awareness in how you love, how you speak, how you enter a room, how you look into another's eyes and see the part of their soul they have forgotten. You are the one who awakens the world's dream by waking up within yourself. This is not theory. This is a choice. Right now. Stand up, not just with your body, but with your will. Step into the future you have seen in your deepest dreams, because what you see is not an illusion. It is a signal from your higher self, calling you home. You have slept long enough, forgotten deeply enough, feared enough. Now is the time to awaken, to choose, to rewrite your destiny. Because reality is not out there. Reality begins inside you.